I'm Anita and you're watching Nightline, the top stories. Fire crews battle blaze in Sri Sabah flat in Cheras. And Indonesia's presidential election enters cooling off period before polling on February 14th. This just in, a distressing situation unfolded at the Sri Sabah Flats in Cheras, Kuala Lumpur, where several units caught fire. Upon arrival of our crew at the scene, firefighters were seen battling the blaze. As at 11:50 p.m, it was reported that the fire crews had managed to bring the fire under control. It is understood that the fire had spread to 6 houses on the 17th floor of the respective block. The Kuala Lumpur Fire and Rescue Department said they will issue an official statement on the incident soon. The incident was initially reported on TikTok live by members of the public who witnessed the fire from opposite units.
Macam mana boleh berlaku kebakaran ni?
Itu yang sebelahnya rumah lah. Saya nak pintu. Sebelah pintu 4 sana bakar start lah. Pintu 4 sana start.
Dia bakar pasal apa?
Ini pun tak tahu, tapi dia orang parah, sudah tua. Tapi dia rumah sudah kunci. Dia masuk.
Okey, short circuit lah. Berapa unit yang terkena tu sekarang? 6 unit 6 unit. Ada tak mangsa yang kena kebakaran ke apa ke? Tak adalah, semua selamat lah. Kebanyakan rumah tu rumah kosong.
Yang tinggal orang tua semua.
Semua orang tua je.
Over in Indonesia, official campaigning has ended for the 2024 Indonesia elections, and a cooling-off period is now in place from Sunday till Tuesday for voters to mull over their choices before polling for the country's next president and legislators begin. While the latest opinion polls show that Indonesian presidential election frontrunner Prabowo Subianto could win in one round, analysts say his 2 other rivals remain in the fight to force a runoff and deny him an easy route to the presidency. They, however, added that these surveys only poll a small percentage of the voter population and might not reflect actual sentiment on election day. The final pre-election survey released by the reputable Indikator Politik Indonesia showed Prabowo and his running mate Gibran Rakabuming Raka scoring an electability of 51.8%, while Anies Baswedan and Muhaimin Iskandar came in second, and Ganjar Pranowo and Mr. Mahfud MD were in third. With 3 presidential candidates running, the current electoral rules require a candidate to win at least 50% of the national vote and at least 20% of the vote in each province to avoid a runoff. The runoff will see the first and second placed candidates go head-to-head in polls set for June 26. And back home, amidst the hustle of residing and earning a living in Malaysia, Indonesian citizens here did not let this prevent them from fulfilling their duty to their homeland by participating in early voting for the 2024 general election on Sunday. The Chinese New Year public holiday provided an opportunity for Indonesian citizens to attend one of the 6 polling centres opened in Malaysia, namely in Kuala Lumpur, Johor, Pulau Pinang, Sabah and Sarawak. Checks at the World Trade Center WTC in the capital found the situation to be under control and proceeding smoothly, with the presence of authorities such as the Royal Malaysia Police and the Kuala Lumpur City Hall ensuring security and traffic flow.
I hope that Indonesia, the next president, can listen to what the people will say and also take action so that Indonesia can grow even further.
So as a youngsters, who's you going to choose? What kind of candidate you going to choose?
I'm going to choose the one who makes the most impact, and I'm also going to choose today. So I hope that whichever we choose, we can keep making Indonesia better. Yeah.
Ini baru pertama kali lah kalau untuk ini. Okey. Asalnya Bapak mahu macam mana Indonesia pada 14 Februari depan? Siapa lidernya?
Kalau saya lider 02.
02.
02.
Bapak mau lihat Indonesia bagaimana lepas ini?
Saya mau lihat Indonesia lebih maju. Lebih maju dari ini, lebih maju untuk ke depan.
Lebih maju ke depan.
Kita tak mau lagi ketinggalan negara. Kita masih meninggal 02.
Pilih 02, pilih 02.
Approximately 240 million Indonesians will participate in the 2024 general election on February 14th to elect the president, vice president, members of the People's Consultative Assembly and representatives for local legislative bodies. This election will see new leaders replacing President Joko Widodo, or Jokowi, who will be ending his second and final term in October. Meanwhile, in Sabah, the electoral process for over 158,000 registered voters took place at two locations in Kota Kinabalu, namely the Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia, KJRI Kota Kinabalu, and the Indonesian School Kota Kinabalu in Sepangga. In Tawau, the election proceedings were conducted at the Tawau Sports Complex.
Jumlah pengundi banyak, terus terang ramai, kalau orang sini bilang ramai, karena mudah-mudahan bisa angka tersebut bisa melebihi tahun 2019. Nah, kita lihat
berapa persen?
Kalau kita bisa mendapat angka di atas 60% itu sudah lumayan gitu.
As for the voters, there was evident excitement among some, driven by a sense of duty to fulfill their responsibilities in casting their votes for the leaders of their country. Some also expressed hope that the elected leader would prove capable of effectively carrying out the duties as the head of state, ultimately contributing to the progress and development of Indonesia.
Itulah tanggung jawab kita sebagai orang Indonesia, jadi turut mengundilah, memilih pemimpin yang terbaik untuk Indonesia.
Sebagai anak muda, harapan saya kepada pemimpin yang akan datang supaya lebih saksama dan lebih adil dalam perekonomian Indonesia, dalam kemajuan Indonesia. Itu yang paling penting lah, yang saya paling harapkan.
The decision by the Federal Court to strike down 16 provisions in the Kelantan Sharia Criminal Code Enactment 2019 last Friday was solely because they exceeded the jurisdiction granted to the state legislative body, or DUN. The Department of Sharia Judiciary Malaysia, JKSM, however, said that actions contrary to Islamic law still constitute as an offence under the Sharia law. JKSM, in a statement on Sunday, said the same offence can still be enforced under relevant laws, such as sodomy under the Penal Code and halal under the Trade Descriptions Act. As such, the decision meant that the DUN had a role to play in ensuring that every enactment enacted did not exceed the powers it had before a provision was enacted. In the meantime, JKSM also denied claims that offences such as halwat and drinking alcohol are not included in the category of offences declared by the court as invalid and void. It stated that for the offence of sumbang mahram, when the court declares it invalid and void, it does not mean that it is no longer an offence for Muslims in Kelantan, but instead it is invalid because the law has been provided for in the Penal Code, which is a federal law. If a Muslim in the state of Kelantan commits sumbang mahram, the offence can be tried in a civil court. In fact, the statement added that the punishment provided in the Penal Code is also higher compared to the punishment provided in the Kelantan Sharia Criminal Code enactment. JKSM explained that the court's decision in the case of Nik Ilin Zurina only involved the jurisdiction of the federal and state governments to legislate for offences, and it did not mean that Muslims in Kelantan could not be punished for committing the offences. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi on Sunday said discussions involving Muslim members of Parliament from both sides of the political divide can be held purely for the purpose of strengthening the position of Sharia law in the country. He, however, stressed that any discussions on the Apex Court ruling on Friday on the Kelantan Sharia criminal enactment should not be used for the purpose of gaining political mileage.
Perbincangan boleh diadakan, tetapi kita mesti sama-sama menelaah tentang soal penyatuan fikrah dan tidak menjadikan politik sebagai garis utama. Setelah kita letak ke dinding, baru kita menyebut tentang mahu memanggil seluruh orang Islam untuk mengadakan perbincangan mengenai kabel.
Zahid said this after attending a Chinese New Year celebration in Taman Desa Bersatu, Simpang 4, Hutan Melintang, Perak. Thousands of Malaysians of various races on Sunday thronged the Chinese New Year open house hosted by Pulau Pinang Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow at the Setia Spice Arena in Bayan Baru. Guests, including tourists, were treated to a sumptuous spread of local delicacies. The open house was also attended by Pulau Pinang Yang di-Pertua Negeri, Tun Ahmad Fuzi Abdul Razak, and his wife, Topuan Khatijah Muhammad Noor. Also present were Human Resource Minister Stephen Sim Chi Keong, who is also Bukit Mertajam MP, and Deputy Finance Minister Lim Hui Ying, who is also Tanjung MP. In addition to tossing the yisang, the guests were entertained by various cultural performances, lion and dragon dances, as well as performances by local artists. Speaking to the media, Chow said the annual event was not only to celebrate the Chinese New Year, but more importantly, to serve as a platform to bring leaders closer to the community.
Sambutan ini diadakan hampir setiap tahun, menjadi satu platform yang amat sesuai, membawa rakyat bersama-sama dengan pemimpin untuk meraihkan Tahun Baru Cina.
Meanwhile, people from all walks of life expressed their joy at being able to celebrate Chinese New Year together.
Kita boleh tengok apa-apa function yang diadakan di Malaysia ini, kita boleh nampak semua races pun datang mengunjungi, bergembira, duduk dalam satu suasana yang meriah. So memang bila kita melihat suasana macam ni, hati rasa bergembira.
Kita bersama-sama seluruh rakyat negeri Pulau Pinang, kita ada makan untuk menyambut sambutan Tahun Baru Cina, Tahun Naga pada tahun ini.
Yes, it's beautiful and we like it. Plus last year it was lots of people. I think if we compare, this is the same and yes, we enjoy.
A total of 4,764 accidents were recorded over the first 3 days of Op Selamat 21, which began on February 8th in conjunction with the Chinese New Year celebration. Bukit Aman Traffic Investigation and Enforcement Department Director Datuk Muhammad Azman Ahmad Sapri said the number included 44 fatal accidents which caused the deaths of 46 individuals. He said of the 46 individuals killed in accidents, 32 were motorcyclists and their pillion riders. And on Saturday alone, which was the first day of the Chinese New Year holiday, a total of 17 fatalities were reported. Overall, a total of 5,891 vehicles were involved in traffic accidents. And the first 3 days of the operation also saw a total of 5.78 million vehicles on the plus highways. Op Selamat 21 ends on February 13th. Up next on Nightline, Pakistan's Imran Khan's aides win most seats as vote counting ends. News from the foreign front when we return. Stay tuned.
Okay, today we fight for Malaysia. Jom na Jos. Harimau.
Jos. Extra Jos dengan Royal Gel, ginseng Korea dan vitamin B kompleks.
Bersama kekal bertenaga. Jom na Jos.
Extra Jos.
Bagi saya kes ini sangat kejam dan tidak berhati perut dan tidak beri kemanusiaan langsung.
Berdasarkan pengakuan awal suspek, pada malam kejadian dia telah bertindak memukul anaknya dengan tali pinggang yang biasa digunakan oleh tentera.
Memang sedih sebabnya kanak-kanak 9 tahun diperlakukan kejam macam tu kan. Betul ke bapak dia sampai pijak macam tu?
Kes jenayah seksual kanak-kanak semakin lama semakin membimbangkan. Memaparkan gambar anak-anak di sosial media ni sebenarnya mengundang bahaya. Adakah ibu bapa yang patut dipersalahkan?
Cuaca panas mampu mengundang pelbagai penyakit. Jaga-jaga di luar sana.
Perasan tak harga street food lebih mahal berbanding harga di kedai makanan?
Dan soal wang, wasiat dan faraid semuanya di MHI Isnin hingga Jumaat 9.30 pagi hanya di TV3.
Dan stream juga secara HD di aplikasi Tonton.
We're back with news on the foreign front. Pakistan's official election results were announced by the Election Commission on Sunday, with independent candidates affiliated with former Prime Minister Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf (PTI) party securing the most seats in Parliament. According to the Election Commission of Pakistan, independent candidates won 102 seats, while the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Party, or PMLN, headed by former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, came in second with 75 seats, and the Pakistan People's Party, or PPP, won 54 seats. It is still unclear who will form the government, as a simple majority of 134 seats is required for a party or coalition to come to power. None of the three major parties of the country has won the necessary seats and therefore will be unable to form government on their own, leaving it unclear who will be picked as the country's next prime minister. Meanwhile, police have threatened crackdown as PTI and other parties' protests began, alleging widespread rigging of the vote. The United Arab Emirates, UAE's Ministry of Defense, announced on Sunday the death of 3 Emirati troops and a Bahraini military officer in an attack at a military base in Somalia. According to authorities, Al-Qaeda-linked armed group Al-Shabaab have claimed responsibility for the attack, which targeted troops at the General Gordon military base located in the country's capital, Mogadishu. Al-Shabaab claimed the attack in a statement online, alleging it killed multiple people involved in the Emirati military effort. It also described the UAE as an enemy of Islamic law for its backing of the Somali government in battling the armed group. Details about the attack and casualties, however, remain scarce, as Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed offered his condolences to the UAE. Still on the foreign front, a senior Hamas leader on Sunday said any Israeli ground offensive on Rafah will blow up the exchange negotiations for captives. At least 40 Palestinians have already been killed and dozens more injured in an overnight Zionist bombardment of residential areas across Rafah city, as Israel is determined to advance with its unspecified plans to invade the city where millions of displaced Palestinians are sheltering. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, meanwhile, has reiterated his intention to extend the military operation in an interview broadcast late on Saturday. The statement comes despite international alarm over the potential carnage. The United Nations, the European Union, the United States and Arab nations are all warning Israel not to go ahead with the planned offensive, saying it would cause a humanitarian catastrophe. Coming up after this quick break, unbeaten Leverkusen takes control of title race. Sports right after this breather. Don't go away.
Kalau dialek Kelantan tu saya memang suka lah, sebab saya dengan staf saya pun saya kecek Kelantan je.
Belajar veji ni dia bau dia sama ya dengan belajar asap, sesuai untuk bubuh dalam budu.
Dari kecil lagi kita memang biasa dah makan ulai-ulai.
Ada ulai berasa tak kira macam nasi.
Memang orang apa kena makan ulai baru kemas perut. Setiap tahun kami ada macam pasar malam yang Chinese ni untuk menyambut hari raya.
Stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Kes jenayah seksual kanak-kanak semakin lama semakin membimbangkan. Memaparkan gambar anak-anak di sosial media ni sebenarnya mengundang bahaya. Adakah ibu bapa yang patut dipersalahkan?
Cuaca panas mampu mengundang pelbagai penyakit. Jaga-jaga di luar sana.
Perasan tak harga street food lebih mahal berbanding harga di kedai makanan?
Dan soal wang, wasiat dan faraid semuanya di MHI Isnin hingga Jumaat 9.30 pagi hanya di TV3.
Dan stream juga secara HD di aplikasi Tonton.
Wanita hari ini.
Tiba cuti sekolah teringat zaman dulu-dulu.
Pelbagai nostalgia yang tak dapat dilupakan pada musim cuti sekolah.
Petang-petang dapat makan roti jala popiah basah sedapnya.
Jom kita lihat menu minum petang.
Ada orang tak tahu, tetap kata dia tahu.
Mungkin takut diketepikan.
Semakin berusia, semakin pelupa.
Jangan main pasal lupa ketahui tentang demensia pada Khamis.
Hikayat perkahwinan ada yang cemburu ke tu?
Jangan sampai jadi masalah.
Semuanya di WHI TV3
ataupun stream secara HD ditonton.
Wanita hari ini. We're back with sports news now. Football. Host Qatar retained the Asian Cup with a 3-1 win against surprise packages Jordan as Akram Afif scored a hat-trick of penalties.
Qatar opened the scoreline in the 22nd minute when Afif slotted home after being brought down in the box by Abdullah Nasib. Jordan improved in the second period and drew level after Ihsan Haddad's pass was collected in his stride by Yazan Al-Naimat, who skipped away from his marker before rifling a vicious drive past goalkeeper Mish'al Bassam. Jordan were on level terms for only 6 minutes, however, after Afif converted his second penalty after Ismail Mohammed was fouled by Mahmoud Al-Mardi. Any hope of a comeback for Jordan soon diminished after Afif capitalized again from the spot for his hat-trick in injury time. The result meant host Qatar became the 5th team to win back-to-back Asian titles, having also triumphed in 2019.
Still on football, the German Bundesliga. Leaders Bayer Leverkusen outplayed champions Bayern Munich for a 3-0 victory that sent them 5 points clear at the top of the league. The hosts struck in the 18th minute when Josip Stanisic finished clinically at the back post to take the lead against the Bavarians. Leverkusen made it 2-0 5 minutes after the restart when Alejandro Grimaldo sprinted down the left flank before lofting a shot over goalkeeper Manuel Neuer. Jeremy Frimpong then added a third in stoppage time into the empty net after goalkeeper Neuer had gone up for a Bayern corner. With the victory, Xabi Alonso's team are now on 55 points, with Bayern in second place on 50 points. Moving on to tennis now, Tommy Paul booked his place in the finals of the 2024 Dallas Open with a straight sets win over Ben Shelton. Paul needed 79 minutes to oust the number 3 seed 6-2, 6-4. The second seed set the tone early on, putting big serving Shelton under pressure in his opening service game, before pushing on from there to convert 3 of the 8 break points that he created, while holding firm on his own service games. Paul will next face compatriot Marcus Giron for the title. When Nightline returns, suspect arrested in hidden camera case at Pulau Pinang homestay. Stay tuned.
Sewa murah, punca koloni parti wujud.
Sewa di kawasan ni agak murah ya.
Sewa bilik 200.
Status penyewa pula tidak diendahkan.
Hampir 80% kawasan ini warga asing. Kita akan mengesan pemilik kediaman ini juga untuk tindakan lanjut.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD ditonton.
Wanita hari ini.
Tiba cuti sekolah teringat zaman dulu-dulu.
Pelbagai nostalgia yang tak dapat dilupakan pada musim cuti sekolah.
Petang-petang dapat makan roti jala popiah basah sedapnya.
Jom kita lihat menu minum petang.
Ada orang tak tahu, tetap kata dia tahu.
Mungkin takut diketepikan.
Semakin berusia, semakin pelupa.
Jangan main pasal lupa ketahui tentang demensia pada Khamis.
Hikayat perkahwinan ada yang cemburu ke tu?
Jangan sampai jadi masalah.
Semuanya di WHI TV3
ataupun stream secara HD ditonton.
Wanita hari ini.
방에서 같이 도망치자면서요. 근데 어떻게 이렇게 가버릴 수가 있어요?
그 얘기는 끝났잖아. 시합은 이번 시합은 계속 할 거야?
김PM은 이건숙이 예뻐 죽겠나 봐.
홍보 조작이 행해지고 있다는 내용이 담겨 있습니다. 하지만
아저씨? My Lovely Boxer. Setiap Selasa hingga Khamis, 11 malam. Syoknya berkedrama di Cam Sarang TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with news on the local front. In Perak, the remaining 30 undocumented foreign detainees who escaped from the Bido Temporary Immigration Detention Centre last Thursday are still being pursued by the police and immigration authorities in the state. Tapah District Police Chief Superintendent Muhammad Naim Asnawi said the total arrests so far remain at 99 individuals who have been successfully apprehended during an integrated operation until 12:30 p.m. on Sunday. He said the operation to track down the remaining detainees involving police and immigration personnel would continue to capture those still at large. He stressed that the operation to track down and capture the remaining detainees continues and never stops, even during festive holidays or weekends. On February 1st, a total of 131 undocumented foreign nationals, including Rohingya, Myanmar and Bangladeshi ethnicities, fled from the Bidor Temporary Immigration Detention Centre in an incident that occurred at 9:50 p.m. Of the total, 2 died in a road accident while attempting to escape. Over in Sabah, the Malaysian Coast Guard has foiled an attempt to smuggle out about 3,400 litres of subsidised petrol into neighbouring southern Philippines. The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MMEA, intercepted the medium boat with 17 blue barrels about 1.4 nautical miles southeast of Tanjung Layak-Layak of the state's northern Pitas district on Saturday.
MMEA Kudat Maritime Zone Director, Commander Maurice Grenville Abayaratne, however, said that the suspect managed to maneuver towards shallow waters, with the skipper abandoning the boat and fleeing towards the mangrove swamp. The Coast Guard patrols carrying out Ops Pluto and Ops Tiris were alerted by the public to the suspicious boat's movement in the area. Both the petrol and the boat, worth about 20,000 ringgit, was seized for further investigation under the Supply Control Act. In another incident, MMEA Kudat also detained a landing craft-type cargo vessel in the waters of Logbon Pitas on the same day. This came after the Lahad Datu Marine Department informed MMEA that the vessel had moved from its anchorage location without permission. 4 crew members aged between 20 and 52 were detained to facilitate investigations under various shipping laws, including for having sailed from Lahad Datu without permission, as well as poor safety conditions on the ship, with many licenses not renewed.
Over in Pulau Pinang, police have detained a man to assist in the investigation into a hidden camera discovered in a homestay in Jelutong, Pulau Pinang. Northeast District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Razlam Abdul Hamid said a 4-day remand order for the suspect has been obtained.
Razlam said the man in his 20s was arrested in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday afternoon following a tip-off and surveillance. Police believe that the case has been solved with the arrest of the man. It is learnt that the man is a friend of the woman who had lodged the police report and had stayed at the same homestay with several other friends. On Saturday, a woman lodged a report after discovering a hidden camera inside the bathroom of her homestay in Jelutong. Initial investigation revealed the 24-year-old victim had checked into the homestay in Jelutong with 3 friends for a holiday on February 5th. On February 6 at about 8 p.m., she found the camera hidden inside the toilet's perfume container. She immediately removed the camera and made a complaint to the owner of the homestay before lodging a report. Checks then revealed that the hidden camera was connected to the suspect's cell phone.
Now, in conjunction with the school holidays, parents in Kuala Lumpur took the unconventional opportunity on Sunday to participate in their kids' circumcision program conducted by Persiaran Mahogany's Neighbourhood Watch Association. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, we take a look at the boys' antics just before their circumcision. With that, I'm Anita. Thank you for tuning in and stay safe. Be well, Malaysia.